you've asked, you've negotiated, you've played nice, but the company still doesn't want to budge. Well, it's time to take out the big guns. Most companies are influenced by the people who own a majority or a controlling number of shares in the company. The only real way to take control of a company against the CEO or manager's wishes is to target the people who own those controlling shares. Here are your options. A tender offer is probably the nicest type of hostile takeover. Basically, you offer to buy shares of the company you want to control at a price that's above the current market. If the shares of a company cost $50, you might offer $52, that kind of thing. Now you may be thinking, isn't this just the same thing as making an offer to buy the company in the first place? Not really. You see, the difference is, when you make a bid to buy a company, the board, the management, they all get a say in whether or not the company is sold. But when you make a tender offer, it is the shareholders who decide whether or not to sell. All you need to do is convince a majority of the shareholders to sell to you, and you are golden. It allows you to maneuver around the board. Now, if a public offer isn't really your style, you can skip all of the out in the open moves and opt for a classic public stock buyouts. Basically, you buy up as much stock available on the open markets, just like Cornelius Vanderbilt. The idea is that you keep your plan a secret and keep buying up stock until you become a majority stakeholder of the company. It's probably the riskiest of all three options, because if anyone on the other side finds out what you're up to, you are done. And then there's the proxy war, the messiest of all hostile takeovers. Here's how it works. You find common ground with some of the company's shareholders. Maybe you promise them better business under your management. Maybe you promise them an under-the-table deal if they work with you. Maybe you hire a private investigator to follow big shareholders around to find stuff to blackmail them with. Theoretically, of course. Basically, do whatever it takes to get at least some of the shareholders on your side. And then it's time to use the shareholders on your side to convince the rest of the shareholders to vote in your favor. As long as your group of trusted shareholders can convince the majority to side with you, you can take over the company. The problem usually comes when the company's management tries the same trick. Most of the time you end up with two groups of shareholders on opposite sides trying to convince the other to vote for them. But if you manage to get the majority on your side, they can help you pressure the board into selling the company to you no matter what the management says.